Okay, hello everyone. I'm Dr. Eric Insko. I'm an associate professor of mathematics. I've been at FGCU since 2012, and I teach mostly upper level mathematics courses, but I also teach a few lower level ones that you might be able to take, like statistical methods. Actually, I'm teaching this summer. So if you've enjoyed today's activities, you should look me up and see if you can take my class this summer. I think it's going to be in summer A. You can also go to my website and check out what else I've been doing with students. We do a lot of undergraduate research with students here in the mathematics department at FGCU, so take a look at that. And I also have YouTube channels for, let's see, college algebra and business calculus, that's elementary calculus. So if you're moving to online instruction and you need another resource, you could look those up. They're on my YouTube channel. Okay, so you should start off by doing the following. Fill out this arithmetic major decision survey. This is just so we get an idea of what you have thought about so far, what your majors are, and yeah, just to get a baseline of things, maybe what you expect to make. Okay, then what I would like you to do is go to this FGCU majors decision spreadsheet. It's a Google Sheet. You should have a link to it through Canvas. And then what I'd like you to do is, the first thing is just to do File and then make a copy. So you'll have to sign into your Google account if you don't have one and make a copy. So make a copy of that, call it whatever you want. Okay, and now whatever edits you make to this sheet will not affect the original one. Okay, so what this is this is a resource that was put together by an FGCU mathematics major student, Colin Garofalo, and Colin switched his major twice before he finally settled on mathematics, and a lot of his friends could say the same. And so he thought it would be good to create some type of resource that would give more information to students earlier in their career. And so what he's done is he's looked up the early career median salary, so you can think of that as the average salary for people in their first 1 to 5 years after graduation. And then he looked up the mid-career median salary. That's people with 10 plus years worth of experience. They got a bachelor's in this degree. And then the high percentage of meaning, what that means is the percentage of people that majored in this major that currently say that their job is making the world a better place. And again, he got all this information from payscale.com. You can click on this link and look up their methodology. But this is a third-party website that surveys both possible employers and employees on what their majors were and how much they're making. But what Colin has done is he's also, well, one, he's only put the 55 majors or 56 majors that we offer here at FGCU, and he also created a weighted objective function. And so what that is it's a function that allows you to kind of rank what you think is most important of these three fields and put that in order. So if you look at this objective function right now, this would be if you thought that you don't really care that much about your early career salary and you don't really care about your mid-career salary, but you really want to have a high important percentage of meaning. That means like a high probability that you are going to feel like your job is making the world a better place. Then you might weight that as a 1, a 0.1, and a 0.8. So again, those three values add up to be 1 exactly. And it's just kind of a weighted average of the three different fields. And if you hit enter, and then you get this objective function, and then I would copy and drag this down to make sure that that formula is applying to all the numbers in that field. And then what you can do is you can rank this. So if I go to data, if you click on data and then sort range and click this box for data has a header row, then you can sort by different things. So you could sort by, sorry, I think I want to click on this. Data, sort range, has a header row, and if you want to just look at what all the possible FGCU majors are, you could go from A to Z. That would help you find your particular major. If you wanted to rank it based on median career salary, then you could go data, sort range, and click on the data has a header row, and then select mid-career median salary, and go from Z to A. That means go from largest to smallest, so you can see which ones rank at the top. And here you can see what the top paying majors are for mid-career salary. You can look at what your major is and contrast it to what some of the other ones are. You can see that all of them pay pretty well. I mean, a lot of them pay, the bulk of them pay over $50,000 a year, which I would consider to be a pretty good salary. Okay, and then you can also change your objective function and then rank it in terms of that. So if I do a data, I got to highlight everything, hit data, sort range, and then click on objective function, or objective, and go from Z to A. Then what that's going to do is give me the ranking based on my personal preferences, which was 80% percentage meaning, 10% mid-career median salary, and 10% early career mid-salary. And now you see a completely different ranking system. Here now it's musical therapy is at the very top because that had the highest high percentage meaning, and then nursing, then clinical laboratory sciences, and bioengineering. So that gives you an idea, based on those preferences, what the top majors are with those preferences. Okay, so you can also change this. Maybe you care more about your early career salary than your mid-career salary because you need to make money now. So you could edit this and make this, instead of a 0.1, you could make that like a 0.6, right? That's really important. And then maybe 0.2 and 0.2. So you don't really care about mid-career or percentage meaning so much. And that gives you a completely different metric to rank your majors. So you click and drag that down, and now I've applied that formula to every single cell here. It's taken the weighted average of this entry, and that entry, and give me a value of 61,000. And now I can resort. So I do data, sort range. Data has a header row, just so I can use my labels, and then hit objective and sort. And I think this has got it going from bottom to top. If you want to go from top to bottom, you just have to go from Z to A. But now you can see that the lowest ones are child and youth studies, early childhood education, theater, art, elementary education. Those are the ones with the lowest starting salary, typically, and maybe a lower mid-range, and then maybe high percentage meaning. Let me go back and sort from Z to A. So hopefully you can see now that I've done this a few times, that the sort feature is really useful in Excel, and it's something that when you go into industry, you're probably going to be using spreadsheets quite a bit to organize data, and learning how to sort it is really important. Okay, so with this new weighted objective function, these are the top majors, and you can see that the science and the engineering usually rank towards the top whenever we're talking about salary, and then maybe some of the more social work, service, education majors might be higher in terms of percentage meeting, and so it's up to you how you want to weight those things. Okay, so that's the first thing, is just play around with this and see what different rankings are. Try to change the objective function and see what happens. And then what I'd like you to do is maybe make a personalized decision. And so what that would be is, like, maybe you only really want to consider a major in music. That's all you've ever cared about is music, and so that's what you want to study. Then what I would say is you should search for music, and you should find all of the music-related majors, copy those over, and then you can paste them into this page here. So there's music therapy. What else? We have music education and music performance. And maybe you even want to do entrepreneurship studies in music, because we do have some entrepreneurships, or some music students that have gone into entrepreneurship because they have their own business where they do like concerts for weddings and stuff, and so they're also kind of looking at interdisciplinary entrepreneurship as a major as well, or at least as a minor. Okay, so you could look at this, and now you can kind of compare and contrast, and you can see here that it really doesn't matter whether you major in music or entrepreneurship or music performance. Your starting salary is going to be about the same. It looks like if you were to major in music, you actually have a better salary mid-career than entrepreneurship. And then if you look at percentage of making the world a better place, they're all pretty comparable. Music therapy is by far the highest, but then music education, music interdisciplinary studies are all about the same. And so that's, if you're majoring in music, it looks pretty standard. You should expect to make around $40,000 starting off, with about $60,000 after about 10 years, and you're going to have a pretty high percentage of meaning. Okay, let's just do one more example. Maybe you want to do something that has something to do with English. So then you could search for English, and maybe journalism and communication. They're all kind of right there. So I'll grab those and paste those in there. I don't know why I copied twice. I'll just delete that. Okay. And then what else? Journalism. That might be kind of an English major. And I don't know if there's anything else. Maybe you want to do integrated studies. I'll put that in there. And so hopefully this helps you kind of, like if you were considering 3 or 4 different majors, you can see if one pays much better than the other, if the percentage of meaning is higher for one or the other. Okay, the last thing I'd like you to do is to take a look at this last sheet called Florida data. And what this is using data collected by the State University System of Florida. There's a link to it right there. If you click on this, you can see it's the Florida Department of Education, and it's looking at the State University System of Florida, and it's always a little delayed because the state takes a while to collect this data, but it's looking at all the different people that majored in, like, let's say accounting across the state. There are 1,800 majors who graduated in this year 2016-2017. It looks like 65% have some type of employment, 56% are employed full-time, and this is their quarterly earnings. So on the spreadsheet, I think the student multiplied by 4 to get the annual salary. And then it also says 32% are continuing education, which I think means going on to graduate school or getting another undergraduate degree or something. Okay, so that same information is here, and I think the one that might really help you inform your decisions is you can see what their 1-year starting salary is for the different majors, and you can also see how many majors graduated with that degree in the state of Florida. So if you are going to be a biology major, you should know that you're going to be one of about 3,000 students graduating in any given year, and only about 36% of those people get full-time employment in the state of Florida within the first year, and that their annual salary is only about $29,000. And I think that's just because there are so many majors that there's a lot of, there's a surplus of supply, so the demand isn't very high. Alternatively, nursing pays very well. You can see that the first year salary is about exactly the same as what PayScale said would be the early career for the national average. So Florida pays about the same as the national average to nurses, at least early on. And that might make sense because we do have a population that's a bit older and needs a lot more nurses, I think. Okay, you can also see that there are 2,333 criminal justice majors, and their early career salary, their first year salary is about $36,000 in the state of Florida, which is comparable to the 1 to 5 year salary given by PayScale. Let's see here. Let's go down. Maybe if you don't want to compete with thousands of people, you would pick a major down here like art or chemistry and or mathematics, and you can see that while Florida pays less than the national average, it's still not a bad salary at about $47,000 or $48,000 starting off, and there are only 351 math majors graduating in the state of Florida, so it's a little bit better ratio for you if you're gonna be trying to enter a market like just the Florida marketplace. It's better to compete against 350 than it is 3,000. Let's see here. I don't know if there's anything too out of the ordinary. You can see that software engineering, it doesn't pay quite as well as the national average, and that's probably because most of the software engineering firms might be based out of Silicon Valley, and so they need to pay a higher value than Florida does. Maybe there's less demand in Florida. So hopefully this is eye-opening, though, because you can see that a lot of the salaries are closer for the first year, are closer to $30,000 than they are to $50,000. And so that was one thing that when I've done this assignment in the past is I had a lot of students who said, I'm going to major in management, and so I'm going to expect to make $100,000 starting off. And that was always struck me as odd because the average management degree only makes $80,000 in their mid-career, and they're not making anything close to that starting off. And that might be explained by the fact that there are 2,000 business management majors in the state of Florida graduating every single year. Just something to think about. Okay, hopefully you found this kind of interesting. We're going to use this data in the next spreadsheet. So make sure to pick your major and look up what they make early career. You can either go with the Florida data or you can go with the national data if you're willing to go for a national job search. Okay, thanks.